Have you ever felt someone watching you from the corner of your room, even when you knew no one was there? Most people brush it off, a trick of the light, a drifting shadow. But sometimes, the thing in the corner isn't a shadow at all. Sometimes it's an imaginary friend who knows far too many secrets. This is the story of Maddie and the Gray Boy. Claire and Daniel thought the old two-story house would be the perfect first home for their little family. It creaked, it groaned, and the wallpaper peeled like dead skin in places. But it felt warm, lived in, a good place to raise their 4-year-old daughter, Maddie. On their first night, Maddie wandered into the far corner of her new bedroom, the one where the wallpaper curled downward, and whispered, "Hi, I'm Maddie. What's your name?" Her parents laughed. Kids talk to corners all the time. But Maddie wasn't pretending. She told them she had met a boy, a gray boy. And when her mother asked why gray, Maddie simply said, "Because he's the same color as the cold." That was the first sign, the first wrongness. But no one listened. It didn't take long before the gray boy became part of Maddie's daily life. Claire would catch her daughter whispering to that same corner, sometimes giggling, sometimes nodding as if taking instructions. One evening, while setting the table, Claire heard Maddie humming a soft, trembling melody, a lullaby Claire hadn't heard since she was a child, something her grandmother used to sing. She asked Maddie where she learned it. "Gray Boy told me. It's your favorite." That night, Daniel was fixing a cabinet hinge when Maddie approached him and said, "You don't have to fix that. Gray Boy says the scary man used to hide things in there." Daniel stared at her. "What scary man? The one who talks to you when you're sleeping?" From that night on, Daniel slept lightly, always listening, always afraid he might hear something whisper back. Then came the drawings. At first, they were normal, stick figures and bright suns, nothing unusual. But then Claire unzipped her Maddie school folder and froze. A crude, gray figure loomed over a small girl in a bedroom that looked exactly like Maddie's. Long arms, no face. In the corner, written in uneven letters, "I told you he was real." More drawings followed. The gray boy crouching beneath Maddie's bed, standing behind Claire while she cooked, eyes staring from behind the basement door. But the final drawing rattled Claire the most. It showed a woman crying, a woman who looked exactly like her. Next to her were the words, "He knows what you hid." Because years ago, before she met Daniel, Claire had buried a part of her past so deep she barely remembered it herself. And yet, somehow, the gray boy knew. The house grew colder as autumn set in. Not outside, only inside. Especially around Maddie's room, especially near that whispering corner. One night, Claire walked past her daughter's bedroom and heard a voice, too deep for a child, too soft to understand. She opened the door slowly. "Maddie, who are you talking to?" Her daughter sat up in bed, staring at nothing. "He wants to talk to you," she said. Claire whispered, "Who?" "Gray Boy." Claire tried to laugh it off. "Tell him it's bedtime. He said you should tell the truth now." Something shifted behind Claire. Not a sound, just the pressure of someone standing too close. Daniel rushed to the doorway, and as he arrived, a loud metallic crash echoed through the vents. Something crawling, scraping, moving. When he pulled open a grate in the hallway, a cold blast hit his face. Inside the duct, scratched into the dust, were the words, "I see you." They did not sleep that night. The next morning, Claire sat on the edge of Maddie's bed and finally asked, "Sweetheart, who is the gray boy?" Maddie pointed to the corner. "He lived here before, a long, long time ago." "What happened to him?" "He couldn't leave," she whispered. "The man in the basement wouldn't let him." Daniel and Claire exchanged a look. There was no man in the basement, just boxes and old tools. But later that day, Daniel went downstairs with a flashlight, determined to prove it was nothing. The basement air was stale and metallic. Behind the water heater, hidden in shadow, he found a small, warped door, old, locked, missed during every inspection. He forced it open. Inside was a dirt crawl space, and in that crawl space, little bones, wrapped in the tatters of an old shirt. Upstairs, at the exact moment Daniel discovered the bones, Maddie whispered into the empty air, "Stop talking! You're scaring them!" And then, softly, "I'm sorry for what happened to you. I'm so sorry." When Daniel returned, pale and shaking, Maddie looked up at her parents and said, "Gray Boy says thank you. He can go now." The room suddenly warmed. The air softened. The house exhaled. They moved out 2 days later. To this day, Claire and Daniel never speak of the house, never tell Maddie what they found, and they try not to think about the Gray Boy or the man who might have kept him hidden in the walls so long ago. But sometimes, when the night is quiet and the corners feel a little too dark, Claire swears she hears a child's voice whisper, "Thank you," and she prays it's only gratitude, not a reminder that the dead never really leave.